What's going on? This is Terrence Manning. This is my thoughts on cut. Let's talk about the National Guard. Yes, the National Guard being sent to Chicago. Trump is sending the National Guard to Chicago. Let's check it out.
CBS News correspondent Usher Qureshi has more on the president's federalization of troops. Usher, good morning. You know, the administration authorized hundreds of National Guard members to be sent to where you are. Tell us about the preparations for that and the political reaction as well.
Good morning, Errol. Well, local officials have been saying for weeks that there is no need for federal troops here. Now, hundreds of members of Illinois National Guard could be on their way soon. Many could come from the Illinois Guard over objections from Governor J.B. Pritzker. Now, the governor's office said even leadership within the Illinois National Guard has communicated to the White House that the state.
Look how many people are out there versus how many ICE agents are out there. And you're telling me you don't need National Guard for the public safety of the protesters and also the public safety of the ICE agents and all the other federal agents that are over there?
Does not require the military right now. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
They want mayhem on the ground. They want to create the war zone so that they can send in even more troops. Now they're claiming they need 300 of Illinois' National Guard. Well,
so this is a thing. You want to be preventative. You don't want to be reactive in these situations. You want as many law enforcement and also National Guard that you can have there to maintain the safety of all people. That includes law enforcement, local, state, and federal, and it includes the protesters. They do have a right to protest, but we want a safe and peaceful protest. We don't want anybody getting hurt. You don't want to wait till someone gets ran over like they already had, like how ICE agents had to shoot the person that tried to run them over and ran them over with their truck. This is why we need these people there. You want to be proactive, not reactive.
we didn't need them before they showed up.
Now, according to this memo that we obtained by CBS News, those 300 members of the Illinois National Guard will be brought under federal service and deployed to, quote, protect federal property and government personnel performing federal functions. 400 Texas National Guard are to be split up between Chicago and Portland, Oregon, Errol.
And Usher, at the top of this broadcast, we spoke about a woman shot by federal agents in Chicago over the weekend. What happened there?
That's right. DHS said the agents that were operating in that area were unable to move their vehicles and had to get out of their car. Officials say one of the drivers who was boxing him, this woman and they said she had a gun, which the agency said was a semi-automatic weapon. DHS said the agents opened fire, striking the driver, who they said is a woman, as I mentioned. She is facing charges
as she should. Striking a federal officer with your vehicle, you're trying to kill him, and you had a weapon in your vehicle. You had a firearm. Come on, what? And you're a woman. What are you doing? You should be out enjoying life. Go have kids. Go get married. Why are you out here trying to protest against ICE agents in that manner? Come on.
Sunday morning, Errol.
All right, Usher,
All right. So I heard Texas is also sending in their National Guard to help out with Chicago. Let's take a look.
Now at 6, National Guard troops are in Elwood, Illinois, a village about 50 miles away from Chicago, and they're expected to deploy into the Chicago area sometime soon.
Our Sabrina Franza has more on what their mission might be and when it could start.
It appears those troops will be staying here in these trailers, participating in some training, possibly de-escalation tactics, learning more about their mission.
Sabrina kind of cute. I ain't gonna lie.
Before they head about 50 miles away from here to Chicago. Roughly 200 members of the Texas National Guard are expected to arrive here this week, sources tell CBS News. From CBS Skywatch, you see a bird's eye view of all the makeshift housing. On the ground, some troops seen moving in with bags of belongings, holding weapons and carrying chairs, possibly for meetings or other trainings. Their mission? protect ICE and other federal agents during the ongoing Operation Midway Blitz, an immigration enforcement mission.
So yes, their goal is to protect federal buildings, to protect federal law enforcement, and to also assist in any way. They're not there to make arrests. That's not what the National Guard is there for.
The Trump administration federalizing National Guard troops to do this, about 200 of whom are coming from Texas. Governor Greg Abbott of Texas posting on X earlier, quote, deploying now.
Bringing
Thank you, Greg Abbott.
in Texas National Guard is really a vast overreach for the federal government here.
William Inyard is the former Adjutant General of Illinois. He says without roots in Chicago and a nuanced understanding of the area, troops from another state would be at a severe disadvantage.
To bring in someone from 1,000 miles away who doesn't have any of those contacts, doesn't have any of that network developed, is absolutely a hazard to public safety.
It's estimated that hundreds of Illinois National Guard troops will soon join.
See, they
Texas
say
troops in
they
this
keep
mission,
saying that
both
this is a
again
hazard to public
federalized
safety.
by the Trump administration, meaning they're now under the working order.
They keep saying that this is a hazard to public safety, but the actual hazard to public safety is not having enough law enforcement officers to control the crowd. That is the hazardous part of it. All these people are saying these things. They don't live in these neighborhoods. They live in a nice, well enforced neighborhoods where they don't have to worry about these kind of things. These people aren't protesting in their neighborhoods. These illegal immigrants aren't in their neighborhoods. So they're speaking as if they were in the hood, in the neighborhood, in the trenches with these other Chicago citizens who, I might add, they actually do want these National Guards and Trump to actually finally make a change of what's going on in these neighborhoods in Chicago. This has been going on for far too long.
Of the federal and not state government. Mayor Brandon Johnson reacting to the move earlier today.
The governor of Texas should be
Worst mayor ever. Brandon Johnson, the worst mayor ever. I don't know who's worse than him. Maybe Karen Bass is a close second. That Los Angeles mayor. Brandon Johnson, the worst mayor probably in the history of the United States of America.
worrying about Texas. Why he all up in my business? Focus on Texas.
Providing no specifics on the mission itself, we're told
He all up in your business because you ain't handling your business. You have 50 plus shootings over Labor Day recently, over the weekend. You ain't handling your business. There's people shooting in the broad daylight. You ain't handling your business. Come on, man.
local leaders have largely been left.
You see how he tried to be all gangster? He tried to be all hood now? Get out. Let's listen to this again.
Not state government. Mayor Brandon Johnson reacting to the move earlier today.
The governor of Texas should be worrying about Texas. Why he all up in my business?
See that? Why he all up in my business? he's trying to be like Will Smith. Keep my wife's name out of your mouth.
Focus on Texas.
Providing no specifics on the
Nah, bro, we're gonna focus on you and what you doing in Chicago.
mission itself, we're told local leaders have largely been left in the dark. Sources tell CBS News that those Texas-based troops are expected to begin their mission ahead of a federal court hearing scheduled for 11 a.m. on Thursday, where that judge could stop deployments in Chicago. We're also learning that the Illinois National Guard troops, who are also being federalized for this mission, will likely wait until that judge makes their decision. After that, we're anticipating troops to start moving towards the Broadview ICE processing facility and the downtown ICE offices on Ida B. Wells. Sabrina.
Anybody got Sabrina's number? I'm just saying. So this is what I think. Chicago is in dire need of law enforcement action. They need to bring back what is it called? Spot shooter? I think it's spot shooter. I believe they had that before, but I'm not sure why they took it. Well, we know why they took it away. They didn't have enough law enforcement officers there to actually react to these shootings. And also, here's another thing about this whole police not being available in Chicago like they should. Brandon Johnson has about 100 plus detailed police officers with him at all times. So as he says, defund the police and how police is a cancer, yet he has them protecting him and his family. Now let's go to another News Nation, actually. Let's go there and let's show you what's going on with this particular female. I believe she's a candidate for Congress. Let's see what she has to say.
You said that JB Pritzker and Brandon Johnson need a history lesson. I'd like to give you one. When masked men are deployed by an executive.
Look at that. Look, if you guys don't pay attention to her. Look at this.
You said that JB Pritzker and Brandon Johnson need.
Look at the crowd. Look.
A history lesson.
Look how crazy that looks.
When masked men
they have masks on
by an executive figure.
Look at this. They have masks on. They're pushing the law enforcement officers, the ICE agents.
Kidnapping people, entire
Look at this.
Families, naked, zip tying
you
their hands.
Cannot put your hands on law enforcement.
They're usually not.
You cannot try to get through these areas that they are protecting and policing. They're conducting law enforcement cases in business. They're trying to capture illegal immigrants. You cannot impede their progress. Use your words. Do not use your hands. Keep your hands to yourself.
The good guys. And in fact, U-Haul trucks.
Okay, let's see what she has to say. We can pay attention to her now.
You said that JB Pritzker and Brandon Johnson need a history lesson. I'd like to give you one. When masked men are deployed by an executive figure into our streets, when they are kidnapping people, entire families, naked, zip tying their hands and throwing them into U-Haul trucks.
See, this is the rhetoric that irks me. No one's being kidnapped. They're not being kidnapped. They're being captured because they're illegally here. They're being captured because they are illegally here. They're not being kidnapped. And they have masks on because people like her and people like Mayor Johnson want to dox these people and set them up so that the people that protest can locate their homes and make this an unsafe environment for these law enforcement officers. So yes, they should be masked up to hide their identity. They have on the uniform. It clearly shows that they are law enforcement.
They're usually not the good guys. And in fact, it doesn't usually end well for anyone involved. I personally would call that the secret police.
Okay, well, you can call it whatever you want. As far as we understand it, ICE is following the law. You may not like the law,
but they are not.
It is the yes.
They are not.
Yes,
Here's the thing, Leland. We just had a press conference this Friday where we demanded transparency, accountability, and safety. The transparency
you
aspect.
can demand whatever you want, Kat. You can demand whatever you want. You hold on.
She just said that they're not following the law and that they demanded transparency. What'd she say?
No, because
we just had a press conference this Friday where we demanded transparency, accountability, and safety.
Transparency, accountability, and safety. The safety lies in the city to provide police officers there to have extra bodies there for safety. Accountability, they're doing their job. I'm not understanding what she's trying to say. What she actually said was just filibuster. It didn't make any kind of sense.
The transparency
you can demand whatever you want, Kat. You can demand whatever you want. You hold on. No, because
the law requires that we are allowed to, that elected officials can inspect these facilities, but ICE hasn't let them do that. Why?
Yes.
Why not? If they're following the law, no, they have not.
Yes, they have. Yes,
no, they haven't. This is a continual issue.
He's right. They have been. They let them
right.
inspect the facilities.
I have some of your talking points here, including one of them that says that you're upset that people who have shown up with medication for their loved ones have not been allowed in. The law is pretty clear. You can show up to prison. I can show up to a prison and demand to see my loved one inside and deliver medicine. They're not going to let me in there either. And if I try to push my way in, I'm going to get arrested. I'm wondering why.
See, this is what also bothers me. They think that these people get special treatment versus people who are in the US who commit crimes, US citizens, and they go to jail. They don't get these special treatments. The- yes, they can have visitation, but they're not allowed to touch, they're not allowed to do these things that these people think that illegal immigrants are allowed to get away with. These people are protesting for people that aren't supposed to be here, and they're trying to grant them rights that US citizens have. They don't have the same rights as us.
You all think that because you're protesting ICE, that you somehow have special privileges.
I love how these two totally separate things you just mentioned are completely different. These are families that I have watched who have been told by ICE to bring medication, life-saving medication, to their loved
Okay,
ones. It is a processing center, so people aren't
Kat,
supposed to be there for more than 12
I'm
hours
asking you
at
a
a
very simple
time,
question.
and they are tear-gassed.
Why do you think that somebody protesting ICE has any more rights than anybody else?
If you're bringing medicine for the people, for the illegal immigrants that are being held by ICE, how are you going to try to bring medicine and at the same time protest? You see how they lie? You see what she's saying? She's not being truthful. If you're trying to bring in medicine for your loved one that's getting deported, on the process of getting deported, that's held in the facility, the ICE building, why would you then start protesting? Why would you show up in gas masks prepared to protest? If the medicine is that important to get to your loved one, why are you gonna just make a detour and protest? Make it make sense.
If I go stand in front of the FBI office and try to block an FBI agent from leaving, I get arrested. It's pretty simple. Why should those rules not apply to you?
I don't think
Facts.
any of us have more rights than anyone else, but I think we have rights. I think we have the First Amendment, which I thought conservatives liked, but I guess not. Honestly, the reason I'm on this show is to let people know, let people that are watching your show, what is happening. I am a 5 foot tall, 110-pound woman who has been thrown by ICE 3 separate times, just existing. One of which I was trying to help.
Did she say just existing? So she just what? What?
You
Would
weren't
not
just
get
existing.
run over
You
by a
weren't just
car.
existing. You
That
weren't just
video you
existing. You were
showed,
trying.
ICE
You weren't
was
just
going to
existing.
run
You were
over someone.
trying. You were
Would you rather have
trying
someone
to
run over?
block. You were trying to block federal agents or
I was
assist
trying
those
to
who
keep
are.
someone from
Well,
getting
maybe if
run
the
over by
person
a
wasn't
van.
standing in front of.
You can't block federal law enforcement officers. You can't say I was trying to keep someone from getting in the van. You are actually condoning yourself in an illegal manner. Like you just admitted that you were trying to aid this illegal immigrant from being captured by ICE. Like what are you talking about? And you're 5 foot, 100 and so pounds. Why are you out there? You can get yourself hurt. Like what is I don't understand what these women are doing. What are these white liberal women doing? Why are you out there? Go somewhere else. Go to work. Find another hobby. Why are you picking one of the most craziest, dangerous hobbies ever to protest for illegal immigrants? Do you not have anything better to do?
Maybe if the person wasn't standing in front of federal agents, that wouldn't be a problem.
Look, you can talk over me all you want, but I want people to know this is what's happening on the ground. And you have rights.
What's
and I
happening?
know that things that
I'm
we're
still
being tear
confused.
gassed, that people are being taken from their homes. ICE agents repelled from Black Hawk helicopters and arrested naked children in the middle of the night.
No, they didn't.
Zip
That
tied
didn't
their
happen.
Completely debunked.
They didn't take
That's been
kids.
completely debunked.
Literally has
Your
not.
entire-
I have
Yes, it
watched a little girl be detained. I watched
No,
it with my
no
own
kids
eyes.
were zip tied.
No
I have
kids were zip
watched a
tied.
child
She's
be
lying.
detained with my own eyes.
Okay.
And I get
So
that
let
things
me
are
just ask
scary
you a
out
quick
there,
question.
but if you're watching this will come for you eventually.
And if she saw
and
it,
it will hurt your loved ones. And
Let me
we
if
just
all
she
ask you a
saw
deserve
it, if she saw that, she would have had video evidence of this. She would have had a picture. She would have some kind of media evidence of this. She's just saying anything. This is like, come on. You're just saying anything, lady.
our rights.
I
Sheridan.
couldn't agree with you more. I think
I
there's an
think that you
important
could.
question.
I
though.
think you could disagree with me because you are.
I think everybody deserves their rights. But my question is this: speaking of rights, and just in terms of being interested in what's best for Chicago, I used to live there. I love the city. I met my wife there. And in terms of what is the biggest risk to law-abiding citizens of Chicago, 5 dead, 25 wounded in Chicago in weekend shootings. The ages of victims range from 16 to 62. What's a bigger threat to the citizens of Chicago, the random gang violence and carjackings and shootings, or ICE?
ICE, because let's be
She said ICE. She said ICE. Let me let you hear this again.
clear. If you want to ask,
This is just my wife there. And in terms of what is the biggest risk to law-abiding citizens of Chicago, 5 dead, 25 wounded in Chicago.
5 dead, 25 wounded in Chicago. What's the biggest risk for law-abiding citizens in Chicago?
In weekend shootings. The ages of victims range from 16 to 62. What's a bigger threat to the citizens of Chicago, the random gang violence and carjackings and shootings, or ICE?
ICE, because let's be clear, if you want to actually attack crime rates, you would do that in red cities where crime is on the rise. Not
No.
She didn't answer the question fully. She said ICE, but she knows damn well that ICE is not killing people when they're capturing the illegal immigrants. They are capturing them and they're sending them back to where they come from, whatever country. These people in Chicago that is experiencing actual crime because of gang related crime and violence, they're dying. So you get gang related deaths, shootings, carjacks in Chicago versus ICE, who is just getting illegal aliens / immigrants, wherever you want to say, out of the country. They're capturing them to get them out of the country. How is this one worse than people actually dying because of gang related violence in Chicago? Make it make sense.
blue ones where it's going down
That's
in a lot
not
of
true,
places.
but
Look,
okay.
I live in Chicago. You
Mhm.
don't. I can tell you when conservatives describe Chicago as a war zone, that's first off nonsense, but the actual war zone is at that processing center where ICE is committing crimes against humanity, where there are dozens of people in a single
I just say
cell,
this
where
really
grandmothers and
respectfully.
pregnant women are sleeping on concrete, and where people
I
are
just say
being
this respectfully.
tear-gassed
Isn't
while
it?
praying.
See, this is she's being disingenuous because she's just saying things that they're going through. Let's just say that was true, what she just said about these these illegal immigrants. They're uncomfortable, they're not treated well, blah blah blah. Versus, oh, Chicago gang members killed about 10, 15 people over the weekend. Which is worse? What death is worse? Being uncomfortable and not treated well versus not being alive at all. Come on. And this is why we can't take her serious. This is why we can't take the Democratic Party serious, because they don't think for themselves. They just say whatever they want to say, and they all have the same talking points when it comes to ICE, Trump, bad.
It's a war zone though, not because people are standing on the sidewalk with signs. It's because you guys are trying to block federal agents.
I
and you're
watched a
trying-
group
and-
of
and
people
you're trying to
praying,
push
and
people-
then ICE shot them with pepper balls. They were literally praying on the sidewalk. On the sidewalk.
Because there was
on public
already a
property.
riot there.
No, and there has never
Yes.
been a riot there. When
Okay.
I'm like, you could just say no, but
You
this
know,
is what I've experienced. So to the people watching right now, he can say whatever he wants. I have been there, and
Okay.
we deserve
Well,
better. All of us deserve better.
Thank you for watching.
See, I'm not sure why she's saying we deserve better. Like, you don't have to be there. You're not affected by this. You're putting yourself in that situation to be affected. So I'm not understanding why she feels though she should be involved in this. It doesn't make sense to me. But I do say this: I'm glad that they're sending the National Guard there. I'm glad that Chicago is finally getting the attention that they need to clean up that city and make that city great. Chicago can be a great city. I pray that there's not as many deaths in Chicago like there used to be. I hope crime goes way down. You know, you can't stop crime completely. This ain't the Minority Report. Great movie, by the way. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. Have a good one. Peace.